Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And I hope you had your vitamin C. Can't start your day without that. Your water and vitamin C. Okay, let's see if I can get folks up here. Okay, hold on a minute now. Okay, you're coming on. Good morning to you. There we go. Okay, let me see if I can see you. Yeah, I think I can. Okay. Okay, who's at the top? Andrea, Niagara Falls. Nativity, good morning to you. And Brahim. And Sandy, Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Karen, Fran. Hi, Fran, from Orangeville. You made the top 10. Amber, New Jersey, how are you? Annette, Janine, Arlene, Jeanette from Kapuskasing, Dave from Muskoka, Lorraine from British Columbia, Carrie from Nebraska, Rhoda, good morning, Nick from our staff, Elaine, Karen, Anna, Rose, how are you? Marilyn from Charlottetown, Rita, how are you? Georgie from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Frida, Lori and Ryan from Sarasota, Florida. Good morning to you. Linda, New Brunswick. Leela, Werner. Faye, good morning. Keith, good morning. Kristen, how are you? Sandy. 2 Sandys in a row. I'm not kidding you. One from Vancouver, Washington, and the other one from Chilliwack, British Columbia. Well, welcome. Lori. Hi, Gail from Saskatchewan. Shirley from Newfoundland. Mary, how are you? Cheryl from West Virginia. Cheryl, you know every time I see that name, I want to sing. Okay? West Virginia. Marl. Danny Lay, how are you? Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Sherry, Mississauga. Sylvia, Mary, Newfoundland. Yvonne, how are you? Sharon says she's late. Hi, Bruno. Bon matin à toi aussi. Lou, Ella, West Tennessee. Say hi to Doc McEwen in West Tennessee. I got her shirt on today. Okay, from the University of Tennessee, Martin. You know, didn't they name that a good... Martin. The University of Tennessee, Martin. And Doc McEwen has invited me to speak to to her classes at times there. So I feel part of the faculty there. No, thank you for that. We appreciate it. Shireen, Lori, Carol, Natalie, Cheryl, another Cheryl, Dale, how are you? Okay, so let's get going, guys. Thank you so much for coming on this morning. Those of you who can come on live, we appreciate it big time. Let me go to a few of our stories here. Hold on just a second. I wanted to talk to you about... Okay, you get our email today on sugar in the brain. Okay, it's amazing, you know. Anyway, it's incredible the amount of misinformation there is out there, you know, and how people. What did they call Alzheimer's? In 2005, and people got a Nobel Prize for it. Type 3 diabetes. Diabetes of the brain. I tell you, I don't know how many shows I spent in my radio days talking about diabetes of the brain, and because of that research that came out on Alzheimer's. And then they buried it. I didn't bury it. I didn't bury it. Guy, I'll tell you a little bit about that, because when you're in practice, and if you don't think sugar has an effect on your brain, like, I don't know what planet you're on. Like, every teacher, every parent, we better not give them sugar before they go to bed, right? Because they're going to be wound up like a toupee in French, right? Like, you're going to get the Tasmanian devil in kids. Just give them sugar. Teachers know it. Parents know it. But medicine, they don't know it. They get to ADHD, and it's almost like they've fallen off the planet. All they want to do is put kids on medication. And then they convince teachers to put kids on medication. And whenever I saw this in my office, I used to say, well, the number one med that they need is food, and this is elimination, not moderation. Your child, okay, especially, all children get affected by sugar, but your child specifically is a canary in the coal mine. A very sensitive system, especially the brain. And you know what? You have to deal with that. You have to deal with that. And I wanted the kids to understand it, because even a 5-year-old, they don't understand much. But I used to grab their little faces and say, you need to understand something. Okay? I don't care what all your friends or even your siblings are eating. You got to be careful. Now, look, I didn't say it was easy, but it's amazing to me how many kids got the memo. Smart at a young age, going through the grocery store and saying, I can't have that. I don't do well with that. You know, it's their birthday. Okay, have birthday cake. Come on. I'm not telling kids they can't do that. I'm not telling kids they can never have ice cream. I don't do that. I give them a plan to succeed. I just tell them, look, understand. Your system, it's the way it's built. And you have to live accordingly. Right? And in this email, we talk about the research on depression and sugar. It's a fascinating study. It's another reason to do the reset. Because the brain of a depressive person is swimming in the wrong fuel. What example do I use? You're out in the Atlantic. Right? You're out in the Atlantic. Can you drink the water? Of course not. And the little battery packs in our brains. Okay, we got battery packs up there. And when you eat, headquarters, your brain, it's like the federal government. It gets taxes. I talked to a young guy last night, and he just got a new job. And I said, did you get your first paycheck? He said, yeah. I said, how did you like that? He said, I did. But boy, oh boy, did I ever get a lot taken off? I said, yeah. Well, I said, the government, okay? The government, they want a big chunk of your paycheck, right? And he said, I never realized it until I got this job. And I said, well, in my head, your brain works like that. When you eat something, 25%, the brain goes, hey, you owe me taxes. Send it to me first because it's headquarters. And there's two areas of the brain. We talk about this all the time. I talked about it last week, I think, or the week before. And I talk about it. You got two main areas in your brain. One is called your hippocampus. That one's easy. Why is it easy? Campus, the memory center. Okay? Hippocampus. Two, hypothalamus. That's the control center for your hormones. And when you have hormones, you need to change fuels. Because, oh, doc, my thyroid. Yeah, but your thyroid is controlled by your hypothalamus in the brain, headquarters. So I always, at the office, always started not with supplements, but with food. I said, your little mitochondria. You remember mitochondria from your high school days? They go, yeah, what is that again? That's your battery packs. Your brain has lots of them. Your hypothalamus, lots of mitochondria. Your hippocampus, lots of mitochondria. And they operate on what you give it. So if you give it sugar and sugar holding hands, like bread, like pasta, like noodles, like muffins, like bagels, and especially if you drink sugar, like juice, and all these lattes, your brain is only going to operate on what you give it. And look, you and I, we all, okay, put your hand up if you live on planet Earth. Okay, you live on planet Earth, like me. We all have a weakness of some kind. Some people, it's their hypothalamus. Some people, it's their hippocampus. Some people, it's their pancreas. Some people, you know what I'm saying? We all, like in my family, for example, okay, I got genetics for diabetes coming out both my ears. I know that. I don't try and fool myself. I don't try and say, well, I'm not like the rest of my family. Yeah, I am. And I got to be careful. I learned it when I was a kid from my father, who was a genius in my mind. Son, it's sugar diabetes. Okay, Dad. You got the memo, son? It's sugar diabetes. And I tell you the story all the time. That set me on my course of my profession. Food. Food first. And it's sugar diabetes, son. Okay. But you can get diabetes of the brain without having the so-called diabetes. And I'm telling you, when you look at ADD and ADHD, and you look at depression. It's a huge factor. I'm not saying it's the only factor. I'm saying it's a huge factor. And what you got to do is start with food. And what do I say all the time? For the millionth time, change fuels. Change fuels. Your brain loves to burn ketones. It wants to burn the right fuel, but it'll burn what you give it. If you don't give it eggs, meat, and cheese, and you give it bread, pasta, cereals, and juice, your hippocampus is going to be affected, and and for some, and hypothalamus for others, or both. The hippocampus, memory. And that's why they won a Nobel Prize in 2005 on diabetes of the brain. Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes. And that should have turned medicine on its head. But you got to understand, there's no money to the pharmaceutical industry. Look, they do some wonderful things, okay? They do. They do some wonderful things. But they don't want you to talk about food. That's why even today, we're in 2025, even today, in medical schools across North America, they don't teach nutrition. They leave nutrition to dietitians. What's nutrition got to do with medicine? Imagine going to medical school and you don't learn anything about food. This is why I used to say this on my radio show years ago. I think I'm going to go ask my doctor if Dr. Martin is right about, cutting back on sugar. I think I'll go ask my doctor. I said, why don't you go ask your plumber? Your plumber's probably got more education in nutrition than your doctor. I'm controversial, but it's true. They don't learn anything. So what is it today? They still got the pyramid upside down. They still put the pyramid upside down. Eggs, meat, and cheese, that's cholesterol. That's fat. That's going to clog up your arteries. You can debunk that in 5 seconds. Not true at all. We live in North America. We spend more money on health care than anywhere else in the world in North America, per capita. Canada and the USA. And we're unhealthy. Imagine 93% of the population, 93, have some form of metabolic syndrome. It's killing them. And yet today, we don't even talk about it. Medical schools don't teach metabolic syndrome. They don't. Because if they did, they'd have to talk about food. Because that's what fixes metabolic syndrome. It's food. If you got high A1C, it's food. If you have fatty liver, it's food. If you've got high triglycerides, it's food. It's not medication. It's food. It's carbs turning rapidly to sugar. It's an onslaught. That's what causes it. What do you want me to say? You know, oh, Dr. Martin, it's so, you're too simple. Yeah, I know. I can't help it. I feel like John the Baptist. I want to scream. And when mental health got exposed, and they did, in the summer of 2022, they got exposed by meta-analysis studies. Those are the best studies because they look at all the studies. And they said, bipolar. It's just not, it's not chemistry. It's not SSRI. It's not a lack of, it's food. Alzheimer's. It's not protein in the brain. Tau proteins. TAU in the brain. It's not that. There's sugar in the brain. And depression. They said, well, you know what? It's not a, we thought it was serotonin and the lack of, no, it's not. But how, I mean, the pharmaceutical industry, they buried that so fast. Like the mainstream media guys, okay? I've taught you this, so you know, I just say it again. They're bought and paid for by big food and big pharma. Remember big food? They brought all the tobacco guys that were into it, how to make addicts, tobacco, smoke, right? Well, they lied. Go read the history. They knew what tobacco did. But they lied about it. And they got away with it for years. And then when they got caught, they said, well, we're the biggest company in the world, smoking. Let's join and buy the food industry. That's what they did. They transferred their money from smoking to food. Wow. And they brought all their scientists with them. And they hooked us. They hooked us. They got people working for them, and I'm not kidding you. They're into crunch. What? They're into crunch. They make food, and they got scientists analyzing the crunch so that your brain says, oh, do I ever like that? And I need more of that because of the crunch. I'm not kidding you. And then they couch all their sugars. In I can't remember what year was it, 82 or whatever, they flipped their sugar in Pepsi, in Coca-Cola, and all the sodas. In Canada, we call them pop. In the USA, you call it soda, okay? Whatever, it don't matter. You know what I'm talking about. Listen, they flipped the sugar. They didn't tell anybody. I knew it because I was in healthcare and I watched them. And remember, I was a food detective in the 70s. I'm telling someone the other day, I took 2,000 hours of nutrition or over that. And they were still, like even nutrition, you sort of had to filter out what they were teaching you because the food industry was already getting to the nutritionists. Moderation. Guys, if I hear that word one more time, then it would be, we'll give it a party because it'll be the 10th million time I've heard it. Dr. Martin, everything in moderation. When I had my radio show, people call in. Well, doesn't it mean everything in moderation? No, it means elimination. If you're unwell, eliminate. Otherwise, you're playing Russian roulette. And how many chambers there? 6? 5 of them got bullets in them. You're going to lose. Change. Protect your brain. Protect your brain. Change fuels. The kids, as much as it depends on you. You can't control everything, right? You're a grandma. You can't control everything. You'd like to, right? And listen, again, like for me, this is really important. I used to say this to my patients every time. I'm giving you a plan to succeed, not to fail. A plan to succeed. I'm going to change. You're going to do it. I'm just coaching you. Change your habits. It'll get easier. You'll understand your body far more. Listen, Linda. Listen, Larry. Listen to your body. After you go a couple of weeks, you cut out sugar. And then you take some sugar, you go, what? I had no idea how bad that made me feel. Right? You are a frog in boiling, you start just by heating up the water. And before you know it, you don't even sense what sugar does to you until you eliminate it for a couple of weeks. And you go, holy moly. I can't get over how much better my brain operates. I tell you guys, I had more kids with diagnosed ADD. They came to my office, ADHD, and adults, and I changed fuels. I didn't say it was easy, but I said it's doable. Trust me. Just trust me. You came to me. You put your trust in me. You came into my office. Now I'm going to give you a plan. And it's not easy, but it's doable. And you got to eat. Oh, Doc, you're giving me a diet where I can eat? Yeah, but you're changing fuels. It's not, I'm not eating. It's not calories. It had nothing to do with that. Now your brain don't care about calories. Did you hear me? It don't care. It's not quantity. It's quality. Your mitochondria, it's going to release energy called ATP. You got a turbo up here. Give it turbo fuel. Fuel loaded with nutrients. I was reading studies here on zinc, okay? And I don't talk about zinc that much. I mean individually, because I want you to eat zinc. You want to take it as a supplement? Okay. But you don't hear me talking about that much. Do you think I don't know about zinc? Of course I know about zinc, and it's good for your immune system, big time, but it's much more than that. You know, even for testosterone, you need zinc. Men, you need zinc. Ladies, you need zinc. But eat it. Eat it. You don't need a supplement of it. Well, you do if you don't eat it. If you're a vegetarian, you need to take a supplement of zinc. It's as simple as that. You're not getting it. It's not in the plant kingdom. You think you get zinc from nuts? Nah, you don't. Not enough for a mouse. It's not bioavailable enough. You need zinc. Eat it. You have an egg? Zinc. Every time you have an egg, go, wow, I got zinc. My immune system's better. My brain is firing better. Have an egg. Meat. Have a steak. Loaded with zinc. Loaded. Bioavailable zinc. That's why I love steak, because of what it does for your brain and your immune system. You guys know that. You see what I'm saying? 2 centers in the brain, right? 2 centers. Hippocampus, your memory. It depends on energy, guys. It depends on it. You know, do you like my little wood stove thing? I don't know where I got that. Years ago. You're heating your house. You're heating your log cabin with paper and twigs. That's bread, pasta, cereals, juice, muffins, bagels. Done. Martin, it's whole grain. I don't care. It's just sugar holding hands. It's just sugar holding hands. Put logs on the fire. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Dairy? I love dairy. Butter? I love butter. Well, Doc, what am I going to put my butter on? Your steak? Cook with it. Pour it on. I even had corn last night. Corn on the cob. I put on so much butter, the thing almost flipped off my plate. With my steak. And you should have seen how much butter I put on my steak. Oh, it was good. I'm thinking, wow, fuel for the hippocampus and the hypothalamus, hormones, men and women. Okay, what's tomorrow? Q&A. Q&A. Get your questions in to info@martinclinic.com. Okay, Q&A. I love Q&A Friday. I know you guys do too. We appreciate that. Okay, share this, guys. Share this monologue, diatribe. Let everybody know where you're coming from. Okay, talk to you soon.